Let me record the session. Welcome to this new lesson. Yesterday we were discussing about the conditionals, right? Yep, we were discussing about conditionals, and also we learned mixed conditionals, right? Okay, so now we're going to practice a little bit and we continue with a different grammar. So, for example, imagine that you are a dentist. Okay? Imagine that you're a dentist, and I want you to tell me, of course, that es importante que te cepilles los dientes. How would you say that in English?
It's important
It's important
that you brush your teeth.
that you brush your teeth. How would you say, es importante que ella se cepille los dientes? How would you say that in English?
It's important that she brushes
Okay. Brushes?
her teeth.
Okay, focus on this part. Don't confuse. Ella se cepilla los dientes. She brushes her teeth. Pero ¿te acuerdas? Es cuando tú quieres dar un consejo, sugerencia, cualquier orden y utilices el that, no uso reglas. Okay? It is important that she brush. Okay? Focus on this part. How would you say? Es importante que seas más educado. In English.
It's important
That it is important that you be más educado, más cortés, more polite. ¿Te das cuenta que no dices it is important that you are more polite? It is important that you be more polite because this you are emphasizing. Okay? You got that part, of course? Sure. Do you remember another verb? For example, how would you say, pido que ella estudie más? Pido que ella estudie más. Do you remember? I ask that she study more. I ask that. Do you remember there are like 4 verbs that we use with this structure? The subjunctive. Do you remember? Ask, pedir a alguien, pedir que, ask. Insist. Require. Suggest, sugerir, suggest, required. Falta uno que empieza con P, that started with a P. Propose. So you say, I ask that, I demand that, I propose that, I suggest that, I require that, she require. But remember, you don't use the rules in the second part. But of course, you use rules in the first part. For example, she asks that, she, negative. How would you say, ella pide que ella no estudie mucho? She asks
that she not study.
Muy bien. Not study. Harder. Or too much. Harder o demasiado. Too much. That's great. And apart from that, we have adjective. Do you remember adjectives? Yes, this is like a previous review because we need to practice and remember the information that we learned before. Okay, but today I would like to teach a little bit more. Okay, this is what we call a subjunctive. Remember that we have with verbs, sorry, with adjective like necessary. It is necessary that. It is essential that. It is essential that you practice your English every day. It is compulsory. When something is compulsory, you have to do it. Okay? Obligatorio, compulsory. Okay? Es obligatorio que nos lavemos las manos. Ah, it is compulsory that we wash our hands. ¿Te das cuenta? It is compulsory. It is imperative. Another important verb, imperative. It is urgent. It is urgent that it is recommended. It is recommended. Did you understand that part? Sure?
Yes.
Yes. But now,
Sí. O sea, solo
tell me.
consulta, solo para el subjunctive,
Yes, para el
¿verdad?
subjuntivo. Subjunctive. Subjuntivo. ¿Ok? Y como puedes ver, es un tema de qué nivel? De nivel C1, C2. ¿Ok? Entonces, tú ves esto, muchos puntos. Mucho naturalidad al hablar. Los doctores, cuando tú ves las noticias, it is paramount that everybody wash their hands if you want to avoid COVID-19. So when you watch the news, you see this grammar. When you read the newspaper, you see this grammar. When you go to the dentist, she's using that grammar because she said probably she's going to say, well, it is advisable that you not eat candies. Te va a decir, es aconsejable que usted por ahora no coma dulces. The dentist. Okay, entonces esto es lo que tú vas a escuchar, es muy natural. But now I would like to focus different grammar. This is the part 2. For example, and you have demand. Do you remember? Insist, I think. Required. I have a presentation, to be honest. We have to wait. Subjunctive, I mean, when you use the adjective, it is important that, it is important, it is essential that. In negative, you say, it is important that you not eat candies. It is important that you not eat candies. You get that part or not? Sure.
Sí, creo.
Okay, please tell me.
It is not necessary.
It is not necessary that. A ver, let's practice together. Let's practice together. You say, for example, primero teníamos los verbos, ¿te acuerdas? Ask, demand, require, insist, suggest. What else? Do we have another one? No, right? Ask, demand, require. Propose. Propose. So you always say, for example, with verbs. So she asked that she be more polite. Ella pide que ella sea más, o sea, su hermana, her sister, be more polite. Okay? But if you use adjectives, you have like the best. It is the best. Or it is best, sorry, it is better, it is essential, it is necessary, it is, what else? It is necessary, recommended. Tell me. And more. Important, paramount. Los he agregado más verbos en el libro que te compartí ayer. Ahí los he puesto, pero los más usados son estos. Ok, entonces tú dirías, por ejemplo, she asked that her sister be more polite. Pues it is essential. It is essential that her sister be more polite. Okay, it is essential that. Yeah, is the same. This is advanced grammar. Or you can say, look at this part. Ahorita vamos a aprender la siguiente. Esta es la primera parte que vimos. Ya lo dominamos, ¿cierto? Para negativo, ¿qué decimos? It is important that her sister not be rude. Not be rude. Que no sea más grosera. Rude. Yeah.
Okay.
It's the same here. That her sister not eat candies, maybe. Not eat candies. Que no coma. Ella pidió a su hermana que no coma dulces. O pide que su hermana no come dulces. Okay? This is the first part. Now, focus on this. Let me make my presentation kind of bigger. Where is it? Okay. Entonces, this is the alternative to the subjunctive. Okay, so if you don't want to use the subjunctive, you have to use the alternatives. But let me tell you something. Look at this, propose, ing. Okay, focus on this. In this case, you have verbs plus object, infinitive, verb plus gerund. It would be adjective for object plus infinitive. In other words, we are going to practice this. 1 second. It is not here. Recommend that employees ask. This is the previous grammar. 1 second, let me bring my book here. I have more verbs. Okay, I'm back. Let me do this. I wrote this like a chart. This is the first part. You don't have any questions about this, right? No questions?
No.
Okay, that's great. Now, the second part, we are going to divide the verbs into two groups. Okay? We are going to divide the verbs into two groups. Can I clean the board? Can I clean the board? Yeah, this part? You copy that part? Sure?
Yes.
Oh, that's great. Let me clean this. Did you realize that I am speaking a little bit more faster? Or not? No? I'm speaking a little bit faster and I made a mistake. I say more faster. Is that okay?
No.
No. This is impossible. You just say yes, faster or much faster. Much faster. Or you can say instead of much, you say slightly. Slightly faster, ligeramente más rápido, mucho más rápido, much faster. Okay, so look at here. Look at here. We have here the verbs, right? Ask. Okay, so what we have to do is we divide the verb into three groups. We have the first one. We are going to order, insist here, and demand. Insist and demand here. Insist, demand. What we have to do is this. Insist and demand, they don't have another alternative. They don't. So what you are going to do is like, she insists that you be more polite. Okay? No more. She insists, she demands. No alternative. They don't have another alternative. Okay?
Okay.
But what about ask and require? What about ask and require? In this group here, ask and require, of course, we have this option, the previous one. We have the previous option, okay? They have another alternative. They have, for example, they say something like, she ask that you be more polite, right? You know this part? She asks that you be more polite. Is that true?
Yeah.
And also, you can say, she asks me to be more polite. You get this? Look at the difference in meaning, because there is a difference, but just it's very like it's just a bit different. Look at this. She asks that you be more polite. Ella pide que tú seas más educado. Y en la segunda es, ella me pide ser más educado. ¿Te das cuenta?
Y no puede ser she asked that me.
No, incorrect. Incorrect. Nunca she asked that me. No, we never say that. She asks that me. No, incluso de manera informal nunca se dice. Se dice she. De frente, she asked me y el verbo play. Okay? Por ejemplo, tú sabes que va a ser she asked me to play, ¿cierto? Es lo correcto. She asked me to be more polite. Pero cuando hablas de manera informal, puedes decir, no, she asked me be more polite. Y usamos esto. She asked me be more polite. Obviamente, gramaticalmente le falta el t. Sería, she asked me to be more polite. De manera informal, puedes omitir el t, pero no es lo correcto. ¿Ok? Hablas con tus amigos y te da flojera hablar. Es, well, she asked me to be more polite. Or she asked me to be more polite. You get it? Entonces, con los verbos require en ask, obtenemos esta segunda opción. Pero con insist and demand, no. Solamente se queda con con la antigua, el subjunctive. ¿Ok? Como te das cuenta, Carlos, ¿qué significa insist para poder usarlos? Insist significa insistir. Insistir es cuando le pides varias veces. Insisto. Te vuelvo a pedir a cada rato. Hago énfasis. Demand no es demandar de denuncia, sino es de solicitar. Por ejemplo, yo no he tomado mi examen. Yo demando al profesor que me tome mi examen. Le estoy solicitando, pero con mucho énfasis. No, I demand that you take my exam. ¿Ok? El ask es pedir, también significa preguntar. Ask. Require es requerir. Por ejemplo, que algo es necesario. Yo requiero a alguien que me ayude, so I ask you to have the skill, whatever. ¿Ok? Require. Require. Y Carlos, ¿y qué pasa con suggest and propose? Con suggest y propose, déjame decir, let me tell you that they have another alternative. So you can say, of course, he suggests that you be more polite. Of course, the previous one, he suggests that. Or you can say, he suggests, okay, being more polite. You have the adjective for. Huh? You got this one? Yeah, so la primera se traduce como, oh, this is not smelly. Okay, so you say, él sugiere que seas más educado. Él sugiere. Y la siguiente, él sugiere ser más educado. ¿Te das cuenta? Es como que una idea más general. Por ejemplo, cuando tú llevas a tu hijo al kindergarten, la profesora dice como que, no te va a decir, oye, sugiero que por favor le laves los dientes a tu hijo, le laves la cara. No, sino que de manera general le dice a todos, well, I suggest washing your kid's face. O dice, sugiero que ustedes, I suggest that you, pero no te dice específicamente a ti, sino es un énfasis en un consejo. Okay, do you have any questions?
No. Okay.
And what about the adjectives? Let me tell you that the adjective, they have another version. Look at this. Of course, they have another one. Look at this. You say something like, of course, it's the same with propose. It's the same with propose. Propose means proponer, pero no de proponer o de proponer algo. Por ejemplo, propongo que practiquemos a tal hora. Propongo que practiques más. Propongo que hagas algún cambio en your life, right? Cambio in your life. Yeah, sometimes I make mistakes here. Well, in this case, we have like it is best, or it is better that you learn English. Es mejor que aprendas inglés. Mira, it is better that you learn English. Or you can say something like, it is better for you, to learn English. It is better for you to learn English. This is the second option. But please, if you want to use for and to, this needs to be first. It is, Carlos, what about this one? It is better to learn English for you. It is better to learn English for you. I wouldn't say like that. Yeah, some people do that, but we have an order. Okay, for example, you say, for example, I soccer play, or you say, I play soccer.
I play soccer.
It's the same. Here, the order for me is important. I prefer to say it is better for you to learn English, instead of saying it is better to learn English for you, the order for me is important. Yeah, but
Okay.
I highly recommend you to use this structure. Of course, instead of saying it is, I highly recommend that. Mira, I highly recommend that you say would. It would be better that you. Sería mejor que tú. Sería mejor para ti aprender. It would be. It would be. Okay, what about this part? So now let's practice together. So remember that you just need to divide into three groups. You have suggest and propose. They are followed by the ing. Suggest and propose. Required and ask needs a person, an object. And then two, the infinitive. And insist and demand, they don't. They don't have another alternative. They just are written in this way. The only way we have. Yep. Sure.
Yeah.
Now let's practice because we have some examples here. And for example, it says, it is vital for us not to spend too long working. Instead of saying for us not to, you say, it's vital.
Mm-hmm.
It's vital that we not spend. Look at this. It's vital that we not. We know this. We know this, but this is the second version, right? So now let's practice. Alternative of the subjunctive. The company proposes the working day to 7 hours to give us more free time. Proposes
Um,
a verb that pops into your head. Shortening, shortening. Short, como verbo, means exactly ing. The second one, do we use ing? What do we use in the second part?
is necessary
For us,
eh,
in infinitive, usamos el infinitive, to y un verbo. Y la última, mira, dice suggest. ¿Qué usa? Infinitive, ing or that.
that
I suggest that a final decision. Okay, it could be, pero en la segunda versión, ¿tiene segunda versión suggest?
I
Ing. Mira, negativo también, ¿eh? Not make it. So we're done with this part. Look at this. She asked me to finish the report. I suggest not reacting too soon. Now, we can use alternative to the subjunctives to emphasize requests, orders, or recommendations. For example, experts recommend no allowing young children to spend too long in front of TV or a computer. Los expertos recomiendan no dejar a nuestros hijos pasar demasiado tiempo. ¿Te das cuenta? Recommend not allowing. También podría haber sido experts recommend that young children, not spend.
not
Not spend. No, 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 not spend de frente. Look at this. Alternative to the subjunctive generally sound less formal. Siguen siendo formales, pero ya son un poco menos. Okay?
okay.
For example, please complete the sentence with the verb in parentheses.
I definitely didn't suggest buying.
Buying. Buying. Y si yo no quiero decir buying, ¿qué puedo usar?
That
That
you
buy.
buy.
That you. Mira, dice, definitivamente no sugiero comprar este juego. Es realmente estúpido. O dirías, yo sugiero no comprar, ¿sí o no?
Not
Cuando tú
buy.
dices, no sugiero comprar, lo que estás diciendo es que sugieres no comprar.
Ajá.
Ah,
¿Y cómo
sería
that
I suggest, no dirías I suggest that you, como dijiste tú, I suggest that you not buy that game. Ah, okay. What about the second one? Look at this. I think it is very important for us.
I think so. That
No, ahí tendría que ser, para que uses el that, tiene que ser, it is important that you y un verbo. O, en este caso es for us, yo estoy usando el for, to make,
to make,
de frente, to make. En lugar de decir, I think it's very important for us to make, ¿cuál sería la versión primitiva o la más formal? I think it is important.
it is,
I think it is important that, ¿qué más?
that may,
That we, falta el sujeto, tienes que poner el sujeto. That we make sure. That we make sure. ¿Se entiende esta parte?
más o menos.
Voy a hacer otros ejemplos más sencillos y luego partimos a los más avanzados. Don't worry. Let me share the screen here. Ok. Por ejemplo, yo quiero decir, es importante que, es importante para nosotros estudiar. Mira, la primera es importante para nosotros estudiar. Esto también se puede decir como es importante que... No, dice, ¿es importante para nosotros estudiar o es importante que?
Nosotros estudiamos.
Nosotros estudiemos. Entonces, la primera sería, it is important for, como digo, para nosotros, for us to study. Pero la segunda versión sería, it is important that we
study.
te das cuenta. ¿Cómo dirías lo siguiente? Yo te estoy diciendo, por ejemplo, yo sugiero que no compres ese carro. ¿Cómo sería eso? Yo sugiero que no compres ese carro.
I suggest that
you
not buy that car.
O puedo decir, I suggest. I suggest. O puedo decir, no, I suggest. I don't suggest. No sugiero. I don't suggest.
That you buy
no puedo decir buying that car. No sugiero comprar ese carro. O también podría decir I don't suggest. I don't suggest that. I don't suggest that you buy that car. ¿Estamos de acuerdo? La primera dice, sugiero que tú no compres ese carro. No sugiero comprar ese carro. Y no sugiero que tú compres ese carro. ¿Vale? Any questions?
No, pero sería bueno que si me podrían enviar, please.
Esto de aquí, ahorita te envío un screenshot. A ver, de lo anterior también, ¿vale? A ver, dame unos segundos. Sobre el subjunctive, ¿ok? Recuerda, el subjunctive es pretty useful. Now you're gonna use it like, you're gonna listen to people talking in English to you, of course, and they are going to use these phrases like it is advisable. So, my piece of advice, I highly recommend that. ¿Te das cuenta cómo uso yo? Altamente recomiendo, highly. Lo voy a escribir para que también te lo aprendas. Highly, es así. A ver, one second. Highly. I highly recommend. I highly recommend that. Te recomiendo muchísimo. Se traduce como te recomiendo muchísimo. I highly recommend that. I highly recommend that. Y ya sabes que, por ejemplo, te recomiendo muchísimo que tú estudies inglés. I highly recommend that you study a lot English. Short? Yeah. So now we have here the book. Let me share the screen again. Okay, so we were discussing about a subjunctive. That was amazing. Now, you have here more adjective, okay? Vital, paramount, desirable, advisable, essential, compulsory, imperative, urgent, and recommended. Okay? So, puedes
Okay.
usar estas alternativas cuando te pregunten cualquier cosa sobre cuál es tu opinión, qué es mejor, ventajas y desventajas, ¿no? Por ejemplo, si yo te pregunto, eh, what do you think, or what's your opinion about pollution? ¿Cuál es tu opinión sobre la contaminación? ¿Qué me dirías?
Em, con estas palabras,
Claro,
con
puedes
estas.
tratar de usar esto, por ejemplo. What's your opinion about pollution? Dime como que, bueno, creo que la contaminación es mala o es necesario que nosotros cambiemos nuestra forma de tratar el planeta. Tienes que usar estas estructuras. Es decir, tus respuestas ya no pueden ser simples, ¿ok? Tus respuestas tienen que ser de una persona más preparada. Entonces, yo ya no quiero que me digas, well, we need to save water. Mira, necesitamos ahorrar agua. We need to save water. En lugar de decirme, we need to save water, puedes decir, well, I have no hesitation in saying that it is advisable that people save water. ¡Wow! Suenas como toda una persona que preparada académicamente, ¿ok? Entonces te voy a hacer preguntas y
Okay.
quiero que trates de usar con las estructuras con el propose, con ing, con el recommend o cualquiera de las estructuras que hemos visto el día de hoy. Poner en práctica lo que estamos aprendiendo. Okay? So my question is, should kids, look at this, should kids spend time playing video games?
Um, well, I have no hesitation in saying that it is paramount that the kids not spend time in front of the screens all day.
Amazing, has dicho, es súper importante. Mira, me has dicho esto, no tengo ninguna duda en decir que es súper importante de que los niños no pasen tiempo, like on the screen, on the computer, todo el día o jugando. ¿Te has dado cuenta? Tu respuesta, de hecho, es súper importante. Es como se dice magnificent, o otra palabra, que ellos no pasen tiempo jugando, por ejemplo, en la computadora. Okay. Te pregunta, what measures, ¿qué medidas? What measures should the government implement? Implement measures. So, what measures should government implement in order to avoid pollution? In order to avoid pollution. Ahora lo digo más rápido. So, what measures should the government implement in order to avoid pollution?
Um, avoid era evitar, ¿no?
Sure, sure. Yes, I will try now. Now we're done with this
Eh,
with the module. So now I will speak English like all the time because I want you develop your listening skills. Okay? So I decided to stop speaking Spanish like for all the time, like just for a few minutes, of course. Yep. So now tell me.
okay.
So what measures should the government implement in order to avoid I don't want to avoid.
Well, I have no hesitation in saying it is really necessary that um, the government in, in, implement
Implement.
new measures about about um, mejorar, better,
Mm, to
improve
improve.
the to improve
Yeah, but instead of
the
improve, because improve is okay. You can say enhance. Let me share this one. Enhance. I like that one. Enhance. Do you like it? Enhance. Enhance. That's another one.
mejorar.
Yeah, it's the same. Enhance. Enhance. Mejorar. Improve. Let's go to enhance. Can you? I don't think so.
No,
This
yet.
one. Enhance. Enhance. Oh, Okay, enhance. To improve the quality, amount, or strength of something. Enhance. I think it's things like this that enhance the quality of life. So, did he describe, okay, it is necessary that the government implement new measures in order to enhance whatever. Yes?
Mhm.
Enhance, mejorados en cualquier aspecto. Improve the quality of amount. Puede ser enhance the environment, mejorar el medio ambiente, enhance whatever, okay? The flavor of the
Okay.
fish. Short? So,
Okay.
what you have to do is to sit down, of course, and try to learn them by heart. You have necessary, essential, compulsory. Learn compulsory. Compulsory is like in Spanish we have this word obligatorio. Imperative es imperativo. Urgent, urgente, urgent, recommended. Ya te agregué. I add here this like adverb. It is highly recommended that. I highly recommended that. Highly. Okay? Because we were discussing about this grammar in our previous lesson.
Okay.
Then yesterday we practiced about ask. Is that true? Ask a question. It's okay between them on. Need. Do you remember? Need.
Yes.
Yeah. For example, oh my gosh, I need to clean my house. Another way to say I need to clean my house.
Um, my house needs
Needs.
wash cleaning.
Needs cleaning. Or for example, wow, it's really late, so I need to cook because my kids are coming to school from school. So what would you say?
Um, my kids. Um,
My kids? Mira,
I,
listen. I need to cook.
I,
I need to cook the lunch.
I need to go. Okay. Um, I need to cook. It needs cooking.
Now the food needs cooking.
The food needs cooking.
I mean that
Okay.
you need to cook the food because we cannot eat like when the food is raw. Raw means crudo, raw. You see what I'm saying? Por ejemplo, me sirven un plato de comida and I try it, and of course, when I try it, I taste. It's raw, está crudo. Oh my gosh, the food needs cooking. The meat needs cooking because I can eat it.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Mm-hmm.
Luego aprendimos el ain't. Then we were discussing about the present continuous. So you remember? Yep. You know?
Yes.
And the
Yes.
future is a present simple, scheduled events, present progressive, an action that is in the future but is near, or arrangement, will, promises, volunteering, for future, you are not sure. You remember that part?
Yes.
What about this one? Would and used to?
Solía.
Sure, but would means solía too. Do you remember that one?
Eh,
A review? Or a new topic today?
em, o sea, si podemos repasar, ¿no?
Sure. Review or maybe a new topic because we have like a lot of topics. So,
Ajá.
yes. Review which one? Would in Justa or present continuous to talk about the future?
No, y está.
Okay.
Hubo and
Okay. But before we continue, we need to remember something really important. In English, we have the verbs, right? And the verbs can be divided into two groups. Is that true? State
yes.
verbs, state verbs, and dynamic verbs. Do you remember that part? Because states there are like four groups, and state verbs can be divided into five groups. The first one means senses, right? Like see, hear, smell, yeah.
Yes.
And we have here another group which is called like mental process or mental processes, mental process such as tales como such as, acuérdate esos sonidos, such as think, Okay. And number three, we have like feelings. Feelings like when you love, when you hate. They are not actions. They are states. Number four, measurements like weight or height. Okay. For example,
Mhm.
yo peso 50 kilos, yo mido 1,30 m. Like that. Okay? Yes. Dynamic verbs, they are actions.
Mhm.
Actions. Actions. For example, play, write, read, because you are performing an action. Okay? Up to this point, do you
Okay.
have any questions? No, right? So you just need
No.
to identify the senses, the mental feeling. So Carlos, why do we have to learn which verb is a stative, or dynamic? Well, let me tell you that it is important. It is important that you know which verb is stative or dynamic, because remember, we never use stative stative verbs with progressive. I mean ing. We never use stative verbs with progressive or ing. Okay? And also,
Okay.
maybe we cannot hit possession, I think, because possession it is like a mental process, but people prefer to create a new one. Possession, like belong or have. So it means I have a question. Have. Is have stative or dynamics? Because have means tener. Tener. Stative or dynamic? Is an action or is a state?
The dynamic?
But when have means tener is dynamic. Uh-oh. Means
No.
means is a stative because you say I have a car. Yo tengo un carro. Cuando digo yo tengo un carro, ¿estoy ejecutando alguna acción?
Ah, okay. No.
No. When have means eat. Cuando have significa comer. Stative or dynamic?
Dynamic.
Dynamic. So, puedo decir I eat a banana. Y puedo decir también no. I am eating. In this case, I am having a banana. ¿Qué significa yo estoy comiendo, sí o no?
Mhm.
Pero tú nunca vas a decir I am having a car. ¿Por qué? Porque dice we never use stative verbs with progressive. Incorrect.
Mhm.
In this case, is
Yeah.
correct. So what you have to do is to analyze. For example, if I say see is stative, but it depends. It depends. For example, when you say, and I see Pepito, for example, every day. I see Pepito every day. Cuando digo que yo veo a Pepito todos los días, mi consulta es la siguiente. Este sí, ¿qué significa?
Mm,
Ver, ¿cierto? Yo veo
sí,
a
say.
Pepito. Es un estado, ver es un verbo estático. Por lo tanto, yo puedo decir I am seeing Pepito every day. De yo veo a Pepito, estoy viendo a Pepito todos los días. No,
No.
no se puede, no se puede, ¿ok? Pero fíjate aquí, sí también significa encontrar, ¿cierto? O reunirse, ¿cierto?
Mhm.
En este caso, cuando tú te reúnes, ¿es stative or dynamic?
Dynamic.
Dynamic, por lo tanto puedo decir I am seeing the doctor tomorrow.
Okay.
Ok, hemos hecho un breve review de lo que es stative and dynamic. Would you like to keep on
Mhm.
practicing? Would you like to keep on practicing, or we continue with the real word and justa?
Mhm. We continue.
Okay, we continue. Okay, so we have see, reunirse, but you just need to remember that, for example, see also means understand. So when you say understand, dynamic or stative?
Understand.
Is an action, you move your body, is
Name.
a stative.
No.
Stative. So you say, yo entiendo. You can say, I see what you mean. I see what you mean. Yo entiendo lo que tú dices. Podría haber dicho, yo estoy entendiendo. I am seeing what you say. No, right? No, right? Yes? Because
Yes.
it is like understand. And also see can be dynamic. But how? Because you told me that it's a sense, so a sense is a stay verbs. So you need to be like very careful, okay? Imagine that you go to the supermarket. You go to the supermarket and you see someone doing this. Look, this is an apple. I have an apple here on my hand. Here on my hand. And you're like, is this apple okay? I'm doing an action. Look at my face. I'm doing this. Right? I am seeing the apple. I am seeing the apple because I'm doing this. I'm doing an action, right? Yes?
Yes.
You can also use a sense as a dynamic verb, of course. And of course you can say I am seeing or I see the apple. Okay? Belong, wait. You say, for example, I am loving you. Te estoy amando. Can we say I am loving you?
No.
No, we never use ing with stative verbs. But you say, I love you.
No.
You say, I am needing money.
No.
No, you say I need money. Because need is stative verbs. Okay, so now you finish, you learn this part, right? You just need to
Yes.
think, of course. But now, what is the difference between justa? Justa means solía, right? Justa means solía. So you say, for example, yo solía jugar fútbol. ¿Cómo se diría? I used to play. I used to play soccer. Yo solía amar los parques, porque ahora ya no lo amo los parques. So, yo solía amar los parques. Tell me, ¿cómo diría yo solía amar los parques?
I used to love parks.
I used to love the parks. Yes, my question is, play, stative or dynamic?
Dynamic.
Dynamic, just in case, por si acaso te pregunto. Love, stative or dynamic?
Stay.
Stative, right? Stative, because it's a state. Now we're gonna like draw a line here. Yep. And now we learned in our previous lesson, like in the first, second, third, I'm not sure. We learned this word would, which give in Spanish the ending ría, right? Ría. For example, you say yo jugaría si tuviera conditional, ¿te acuerdas? So you remember? Yo jugaría fútbol si tuviera pierna. So you say I would play soccer. Yo jugaría fútbol. ¿Cómo diría? Yo amaría los parques. I would love the parks. My question is, play, stative or dynamic?
Dynamic.
And love,
Stay.
stative. No pasa nada, ¿cierto? But now, then we realize that would has another function. Would has another function. Would also means solía. So we're gonna write here solía. What? Do we use like use? Yeah, short. Entonces dice que el would también tiene la función del solía. Ok, entonces vamos a dibujar aquí solía y aquí también solía. But what is the difference? Okay, you just need to know that we use it just with dynamic verbs. Cuando significa solía, solamente lo usamos con verbos dinámicos. Por ejemplo, en lugar de decir I used to play soccer, play, ¿es dinámico o estático?
Dynamic.
Entonces digo I would love I would play, sorry. I would play soccer. I would play soccer when I was a child. Quiere decir que si yo digo I
I
would play soccer when I was a child, sí, eso significa yo solía jugar fútbol cuando era un niño. Pero podré decir I would love the parks when I was a child. Puedo decir yo solía amar los parques cuando era un niño.
no,
No, ¿por qué no puedo decir esto?
porque es estático.
Es
¿No?
estático. Love es un estático, un verbo estático, por lo tanto acá que dice we use it just with dynamic verbs. Okay? So did you understand this?
Yes, ¿cuál es la diferencia? I used to play, I won't play soccer.
There's no difference. No hay diferencia.
No.
Puedes usar el que más te guste.
Okay.
Okay? There's no difference.
Yeah.
¿Para qué lo uso? Para darle, como se dice, más variedad. ¿Qué pasa si te digo, me gusta jugar fútbol y me gusta jugar básquet y también me gusta dormir? Mira, me gusta, me gusta, me gusta. ¿Qué pasa si te digo sinónimos, no? Me gusta jugar fútbol y también me fascina jugar básquet, así como me encanta. Mira, me gusta, encantar y fascinar sinónimos. Entonces digo, well, I used to play soccer when I was a child, but when I was 8 years old, I would play basketball too. I would play basketball too. Yo también solía jugar básquetbol. Para darle variedad a mi speech. ¿Ok? Eso lo llaman en inglés como que coloratura, colorful, colorful. ¿Ok? Did you understand this part? Mira, hemos hecho un pequeño repasito de los verbos estáticos y dinámicos. ¿Ok?
Yes.
Te mando igual un screenshot just in case. Yes, ahí te mando un screenshot, don't worry.